Hey everyone, it's Pick for Life. Welcome to the last day of my 10 days of live streaming. Finally, I, I don't know what I was thinking, putting myself out there on the hook for 10 days of live streaming before the end of 2020. I only took one day off, and that was, I think, Christmas Day. But I'm glad I did it. It was a fun 10 days. This is the final one, and this will be my top 5 winners and losers of 2020. So I've said this a bunch of times in my streams. I'm not talking about my top 5 best figures and top 5 worst figures. That's a different list than what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just my top 5 winners and losers. So they could be very different, and they might not actually be figures. So quick spoiler there. I want to shout out to TM Reviews. Always there to support the channel. If you haven't checked us out on his monthly TF News live with me and T-Man 978, definitely make sure to check that out. We'll have some good topics coming up in the next couple weeks. But yeah, let's get started. All right, so I'm going to start off with one loser first. My first loser came early in the year. And actually, I should put out some more caveats. If it's a figure that I'm talking about, it will be a figure that I've actually handled, not just seen. Like, it will be something I might not have owned, but I may have reviewed it, or I may have had it on loan or something like that. I physically had it and experienced it. It's not just something I'm making a judgment call on based on what I see or other people's reactions and so forth. This is something I've actually had valid input in. So first and foremost, my first loser, and this is really not in any particular order, but I guess it's in, number 5 to number 1. Number 1 being the worst. So number 5 on my list, I guess, would be Zeta Pioneer, and he came early in the year for me. This is not my copy. This is a copy that Toy Dojo asked me to review for them. This figure was all sorts of frustrating for a number of different reasons. One, the instructions were god awful. They were terrible. It took me hours and hours to figure out a good transformation and figure out that one part that was blocking. You'll see a lot of reviewers struggled and actually completely failed to get this guy into alt mode because the front of the car wouldn't slide back enough. And there was just one little thing that you needed to do. I showed that off in great detail on how to accomplish that. And that's one of the main reasons. The second reason why is, if you remember, he came with a bunch of LEDs, which were cool. I mean, you get a whole bunch of LEDs in the chest and the head and in the taillights. The problem is they were basically DIY. You had to do it yourself. They gave you a strip of copper because the electronics were not designed properly or tolerance properly, so you could just put it in the batteries. You had to actually like wrap these contacts around, and once you finally got it done, for me, I only had enough copper for like 2 or 3 LEDs, and they barely worked even then. I'm not trying to get like a master's in electrical engineering to make my figure just light up. That's not what I want to do. So yeah, and then the robot mode is honestly less than stellar. It looks kind of weird. It doesn't look great. I'm really looking forward to it. And I've been holding out personally for the Transcraft movie Bumblebee. And I know we have a lot of options for movie Bumblebee. We've had the Transform Element one. I haven't messed with that. There were a couple others. I think there were like 6 at some point. We obviously had the official MPM one, which wasn't very good either. So that was my number 5. Let's see. Quick shout out to Steve, finally making it to one of the 10 days of live streaming. Glad you can make it. Next time I'm up in Toronto for TFCon, hopefully you'll come by the Toy Dojo booth, and say hi. What's up? Hey, Glitcher. Let's see. T-Man 978. Nice. Thanks for joining. Gabe Wynn. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, and he is really big. Zeta Pioneer is quite big. 3 live stream, also known as Pack, P-A-K. He actually is one of the viewers who recently reached out to me when I put out requests for anybody who wants to be on part of a live stream with me in the next year. So he's interested. If you're interested, let me know either by leaving a comment or reaching out to me on one of the social media platforms if you want to come live on one of these StreamYard live streams and talk about a topic that you're interested in. So, hey, Lorenzo, let's see. Now we'll switch over to the winner side. My first winner, and TM says that my my thumbnail. It might not be indicative of my winners and losers, but Pioneer was there, and so was Arcee. So sorry about the lighting. I don't know why it's all blown out on this side in particular, but yeah. So MP51 that I just reviewed the other day is a winner for me for a number of reasons. The main one being that I had very low expectations for this figure. I thought it looked awful, and to be fair, that hasn't completely changed. But as T-Man has said to us in our chat, I think we'll notice things much less when we have them in hand. And the chest is less obtrusive. It's still obtrusive, but it's less obtrusive. It's also an overall fun figure. It does have decent posability. There's only a couple points that I talked about that are real problem points. The alt mode is really great. The transformation is better than I was expecting. Pretty clean, pretty easy. And I think a lot of people are looking forward to that after having Rouge. And yeah, as far as tune accuracy, she probably is one of the better ones. Her and Rouge both look great, but I think the scale works for me in my collection better. And yeah, there's not a lot of stuff I hate about it. So it's a winner because I think they did a step up in terms of overall quality, transformation, just build, posability, and so forth. And again, exceeded my expectations. So again, it's definitely not in my top 10 figures of the year, the top 5 figures of the year, maybe not even my top 10 figures of the year. But as far as an unexpected winner, she is on that list. So let's see, what else do we have going on? Let me see if I have some comments here. Glitcher says, I think Earthrise Starscream should be a loser, such an unambitious mold. So a lot of people said that. Like, I know a lot of people were really excited about that mold, and then they were disappointed. A lot of folks really like the Siege mold of that better, which is good. Said, hey, Pake, we'll do when TFCon rolls around again, hopefully 2021. Yeah, that we'll talk about that in a little bit. MF Doomtree, thanks for coming. He asked, are you excited about Moon Studios Raiden? No, I'm not. I've never watched that series, and I'm not really attached to it. So I think it looks pretty good, but it's just not something for me in particular. So Alan, a good buddy of mine, he's a local, says, so an awful looking figure that beat expectations is a winner. Yeah. So again, this is not it's not the best figures on my list, but it's ones that exceed expectations. She's a winner in my mind. I think she is definitely better than I was expecting, and surprised me. So let's see what else we got here. 598 in the house. 598. What's up? How's it going? The famous 598 from X-Transbot Toys. He's one of the, obviously the main designer for that line. So glad to have him in the live chat. You should definitely start hitting him up with questions. So instead of me. Let's see what else we got here. Kato's, how's it going? So Alan is still counting. So in sports, even if the team beats the spread but loses the game, it's still a loss. That's true, but you could also say the opposite, right? Even if the team wins but loses a spread, you still lose your bet, right? So it's just all perspective. You definitely don't have to agree with me on that. All right. Let's see what else we have here. So no, we're going to, I guess, the next one, which is number 4 of my losers. So my second loser of the year. And this shouldn't be unexpected for anybody who's watched my channel. This guy, Fans Toys Iceman. He is definitely a loser in my book. The third release and second limb bot of the Fans Toys Superion series and the aerial bots. And I just think he's a letdown. That's the biggest thing. He's definitely not a terrible figure by any stretch. I'm sure a lot of folks in the chat will probably put him on their top 5 or maybe top 3 or maybe their figure of the year. But I found him to be unbelievably disappointing in the sense that the waist was really bad. I can't believe that waist. I thought we were going to get an improvement from Goose, which, if you guys remember, Goose could only turn one way. So I think if he could only turn left, so if you wanted him to look right, you had to twist his upper body left like 270, 290 degrees or something ridiculous like that. I don't know why they gave us zero articulation without completely pulling out and mistransforming this guy. It made no sense to me. I also had a problem with this one. This is also Toy Dojo's because I gave up on this line. I also had a problem with the crack forming in this tab here. Apparently, a lot of people did. I didn't really notice it. I don't think it's a big deal, to be perfectly frank, but it's something that Fans Toys got a lot of flack over for as well. This all figure also, we don't know exactly how the combine mode works still for either of their combiners. And from what I could gather from just experimenting with it, didn't give me a lot of confidence in what it was going to look like. It was going to look like it was going to be very Ghibli. And honestly, this is probably the last straw that that broke the camel's back for me, that took me out of the Fans Toys aerial bots for my collection. So I will still review them. Toy Dojo still wants me to review them. So that's why when you saw my collection tour yesterday, they were still in this display here, but these are not mine. I'm not paying for them, and more than likely they will not be my Superion of choice. He also has trouble balancing, for at least my copy does. So that's number 3. I know that's a hot take, but I don't think anybody, at least in my channel, who's familiar with my channel, would be surprised about that. TM Reviews also said he was in my most disappointing as well, which doesn't surprise me. TM and I talk a lot, so I'm not surprised that we have some similar views on some of our takes. Steve also says, I agreed about Iceman. The backpack is hideous. I actually don't think the backpack is all that bad, but it also seems super lazy. There's a bunch of layers that I feel like they could have cleaned up a bit more. BBO3 says, I can't say I ever liked the Aerobots anyway. Always losers for me. All right. Lorenzo. Okay, so I feel like I'm not alone in this. Brian G says, you're a Fans Toys hater. Yeah, I mean, I get that a lot. So we'll talk about that a bit. Yeah, let's see what we got here. Jermaine Sutton says, that's why I buy 3 of each for each mode. Yeah, Jermaine, most of us aren't doing that where we can have 3 versions. All right, so what else do we have here? Yeah, look, Maddie's trying to take advantage of 598 actually be on this live stream. When's Locke coming out? So I don't know, but I'm excited about that. That's one of my, well, I'm already spoiling, but that's actually on my list of most anticipated figures of next year. So let's see what else we got. All right, good. So I think we're done with those comments. So let's move on to number 4 on my top 5 winners. That is going to be GCreations Wrath, their version of obviously last night Grimlock. And he just looks phenomenal. He's super heavy. He feels really good in hand. The paint is just astounding on this. The level of detail, the different colors, the depth that you get out of it. You don't just get like one color, one solid color. You get like black painted with some green, also some weathering detail. There's weathering as well as some other like kind of rusty paint that goes inside some of these pieces. And it just looks really phenomenal. It looks really realistic. It's the most detailed painted movie figure or any collectible, I think, that I've seen, including like the 3A stuff. I mean, they do amazing work as well, but this just has a level of depth that is just quite amazing. The transformation is also pretty good. There is some parts forming in, which is a downside. But while I was looking forward to this figure, I wasn't expecting to be this wowed by it. It has pretty good articulation. The only really bad part about the articulation are these hips in Dino mode, which make it sometimes hard to balance. Though the fact that you get a little mini Optimus Prime up here is pretty cool as well. It was pretty expensive, so I get it if a lot of you guys didn't buy it for that reason, or because you're not a fan of the Bayverse. I've never been a fan of the Bayverse really, except for maybe the first movie. But the movie figures, I don't know why. The movie line has always been really impressive to me when they come out in toy form. All right, so hopefully that will balance there. So I don't know if a lot of people have experienced that, but or watch a lot of reviews, but that is a really nice figure, and it cleans up really well on both sides. T-Man says, Z, he's sleeping. He's sleeping. 598 says, Maddie the Dentist, no idea, but the box is done. So that's a good sign the box is done. All right, yeah. Sorry, I'm calling out 598. I was just kidding. Don't don't beat him up too much in the comments. He's just here to watch. So, all right. Too bad it is short and expensive. I'm guessing he's talking about the Dinobot. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not in scale with everything else, but then if we did have him in scale with what we had, like Challenger and so forth, he'd just be way too massive. Baker Jin, are you only asking fellow reviewers to join in your community live stream? It's open to anyone. I put that out there. It's open to anyone. I actually want non-reviewers. I want people who are just viewers, who are just collectors, that normally would not be part of the YouTube community, to be out there, to be able to voice their opinions, to say what they want to talk about. And it could be about Transformers. It could be about whatever else. I'm interested in learning about new venues of collecting, new niches that I might be interested. I might not be really interested in, Star Wars or whatever it may be. So if you're interested in Baker Jin, let me know. If you want to talk about gaming, you and I could have a gaming conversation or anime conversation. I'd be super stoked about having that. It's a change of pace that's not just Transformers and so forth, right? So let's see. What else we got? T-Man, he's trolling. He's saying next already. Let's see what else we got. Sorry, it looks like my Wi-Fi phone is charging my car. It's just started flickering. It tends to do that. I want to purchase Arcee. Is MP51 really good? It is pretty good. Like I said, it's exceeded my expectation. It is expensive though. So if you were able to get it cheaper, maybe through Amazon Japan or maybe an overseas seller, it might be more worth your while than the $150 US retail, just being perfectly honest about that. Henry, are your lists limited third party? No, I just did MP51. She's not third party. So let's see. That Grimlock bores you. How can it bore you? It looks great. And that weapon is so heavy you can definitely beat somebody up. All right, let's see what else we have here. 3 Livestream said that's good for the community, talking to peeps whether they have station or not. Yeah, I'm interested in talking about anyone. All right, so yeah, T-Man says we have reviews for Arcees for details. So I did a live stream earlier this week. TM Reviews did a review, and then T-Man I think just put his up yesterday. So a lot of different options. So Alan says, sorry, mainline stuff. Again, this list has to be consisting of stuff that I've actually played with or owned. I own very little mainline stuff, and honestly, most of my mainline stuff is in the storage room that I showed yesterday. That is unopened because it's just not a priority for me. I like them. I think they look great, and at some point, I think I will open them, but that point never ends up coming a lot of times. So that's why the mainline stuff. I think Earthrise and Kingdom that's coming up look phenomenal. The reviews that T-Man put up just earlier this week, as well as the one I think that's coming out maybe today, or if he hasn't put it out, of the Megatron, Beast Wars Megatron, they all look phenomenal. I think, I didn't put this out there, but maybe as a winner, I should have put the collectors, just the fandom, because Kingdom and the mainline is really killing it. T-Man and TM have said repeatedly that some of the mainline stuff is better than MP. That Studio Series 86 Hot Rod, which I will review because Toy Dojo is sending me a review copy, that looks phenomenal. That looks like way better than the official MP Hot Rod, as well as the Fans Toys Hot Rod, just from what I've seen. Again, that's just a preview opinion, what I have. Maybe I'll think differently once that actually is in my hands. So, yeah, that's the reason why I don't have much mainline stuff in general on my lists. Let's see. Hi, do you think there's a chance X-Transbot will lower the price of the Motormaster trailer someday? I don't know. That would just be me just completely guessing. I mean, someday, maybe, if it doesn't sell. But yeah, I just don't know. All right, so where was I? So we just got done with RAS, so we're going back over to the loser side. All right, so my next loser, and this one, again, is not a bad figure. It's expectations, right? This figure was one of my most highly anticipated figures, ToyWorld Freedom Leader, aka Tactics Waistcoat. It was one of my most. It's heartbreaking for me to put this as a loser because it's still a great figure. Don't get me wrong, but there were a lot of disappointing parts about this. And And again, it's on my list just because of how highly I had it. I think I had it as my #1 most anticipated figure of 2020. The fact that this is the deluxe version that came out with all this stuff, it came super late. They didn't fix some of the issues, like the chest issue, which was a big thing. I know a lot of people have like their homebrew fix for that. I have one of my own as well. But it doesn't really resolve the issue of it actually having a mechanism that was designed to hold it into place, which is disappointing. It does have this kind of floppy neck and the face mask that like kind of flops around. I know that the black version of this was improved in a number of different ways. Also gave you a new head and neck piece that we could use on here. And I wish I had bought that just so I could fix up this version. But he's not a bad figure. I honestly still love this figure. So again, that's why this is the winners and losers, not a top 5, top 10. He would definitely be in my top 10 of the year. He's still a fantastic figure overall. The things he accomplishes make it a fantastic figure. But again, judging by expectations, it made me very disappointed. The transformation isn't actually that bad. I meant to review this guy to show you guys a much easier way to transform it. The pro tip is do not follow the instructions and start with the legs first. Every review I've seen starts with the upper body and then has clearance issues. Don't do that. Start with the legs first. They're super easy. They get things out of the way, and then you will have zero clearance issues with that one panel that flips up and so forth. But overall, he still has great articulation and everything like that. Still a very amazing figure. But again, he's on my losers list just for, again, I also had a bad experience on the purchase, which is not my fault, which is not the figure's fault, but a lot of things just added up to it being a loser. But it still looks fantastic, and I still really love this figure. All right. Let's see what we got here. Hey, Winston, how's it going? Yeah, Maddie then says that's a good take about the Bayverse stuff. The toys usually impress. Yeah, I'm impressed a lot of times with just the engineering. I don't know why I'm more impressed with the engineering on movie toys. Maybe because they're unexpected, because I don't know what would normally be the transformation. With other figures, we have some idea and we know where things are going to go. But with the movie universe figures, you know, two exact same figures can have such drastically different ways of handling things that it just really impresses me. I love the engineering. So, which is why it's a bit of a dagger that DX9, my favorite probably movie company, has gone under, apparently, possibly. Do we think it will get a reissue of Rouge or Apache from FT? I'm going to say yes. I think we will. They've been really good about reissues as of late. So, what else? What else am I seeing here? What other comments? Clinical, yeah, that was ToyWorld. Yes. All right. Thanks, TM, for answering some questions while I'm talking. Let's see. Baker Jin says, I don't have any love for movie bots, but I got UT Challenger on a whim and love him. Yeah, he's fantastic. I think he was he might have been in one of my top ones. Either way, it's fantastic. That's a really great one. I'm kind of interested in looking at the ToyWorld version of Optimus Prime that just came out too. I haven't looked at any reviews, but I do want to check it out. Let's see. Velkia says, many companies have made third-party Optimus, Nova, and even Solus Prime figures. Makes me wonder if Sentinel Prime will ever get a third-party treatment. Yeah, I mean, I'm personally not that interested, but I can see why a lot of people would be. What are your thoughts on non-transforming bots like Threezero Megatron? That's a really good segue into my number 3 winner of the year, and that's another version of the Bumblebee Prime. A lot of movie figures, I know this wasn't by design. Again, these are just the ones that really stood out in my mind. This is a winner for me. This is Threezero's Optimus Prime, which is obviously part of the line that MF Doomtree was asking about. But this figure is amazing in terms of overall look, finish, accuracy. I got it because it's officially licensed. I imagine they got the actual 3D renderings or designs from the studio. And this looks amazingly accurate. It has unbelievable articulation. The only couple things that make it disappointing to me are that it doesn't have a matrix feature or chest opening feature. And obviously because it doesn't transform. So, but this line in general has been awesome. I would have loved to be able to collect the premium line, but those are just too big and too expensive. And honestly, I think this size or scale of figure is the most fun to play with. I like something that's like this big to play with for these kind of showcase display pieces. For something I want to play with like every day, I definitely would like kind of like the Voyager scale. But I really love this figure. It's really nice. It's not overly expensive. I can't wait for the Soundwave, which is on its way from me from Toy Dojo as we speak, along with a couple of other goodies. So I will be reviewing that early in the new year. So let's see what others have said. Bigger Jin also says it seems like third-party movie bots are attracting more unwanted attention from copyright holders. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if with the UT and ToyWorld going silent, don't know if that will continue to be the case. Let's see what else we have here. Glacier says, personally, this is a response to, I think it was Belkia's comment, I'd be more interested in a new Nova Prime Plus trailer. Yeah, we haven't gotten a ton of those. I know Make Toys made one. I reviewed that, I believe. I also reviewed the Nova Prime from MMC, which was not a great figure. I think the trailer and the super armor was not that great. The base figure was pretty good. TM says, I can barely tell the difference between 3A and ToyWorld except the hands are a giveaway. Yeah, they're very hard to tell the difference. And the fact that ToyWorld still transforms and looks that good is still a very big positive. Honestly, I almost consider putting ToyWorld's Optimus Prime both as a winner and loser, but then I was like, that doesn't make sense. Don't be stupid, Henry. So I went ahead and got rid of that. Yes, this is also the case. The torso looks a little bit more scrunched. All right. Hey, Lowell, how's it going? Lowell and I have been commenting back and forth on the comments he's left on a couple of videos recently. Like I said, I'm pretty OCD. I like responding as much as possible to the comments. So if you have any comments and things, again, that you like, that you think I may have missed, if you're catching this later, what was your top 5 figures or winners or losers, however you want to classify it. You don't have to do it the same way as me. But yeah, with putting the baby down for a nap. Been there, done that. Luckily, my kids are older now at 6 and 10 that they don't go down for naps. They barely go down for bed unless I like hit them with a brick or something. Steve's also excited about Threezero Soundwave. So yeah, awesome. All right, so we just finished Threezero, so we're on to the number 2 loser of our list. And I don't know if 598 is on here, but my number 2 loser is actually not a figure. It's X-Transbots toys, which is a heartbreaker for me to say because I've been a big supporter of X-Transbots toys, still a big fan of their stuff. But the reason why they're losers is not because I don't like their stuff. It's been a PR nightmare for them. Let's just be real. Recently, they've just been destroyed on social media. So give me a second. Give me a second here. Let me see how to best do this. Sorry, I'm trying to share my screen real quick. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted. So sharing my screen, I'm probably doing something crazy right now. But so I wanted to show off their Facebook page because it's a madhouse in there. So as far as the PR stuff, people have already asked about it in the channel in this very live stream. You know, talking about the price of their trailer, their accessories pack. I mean, if you look at the latest comments, the latest posts that they have a ton of comments, but they're not good comments. They're the bad kind. And there are a lot of great supporters out there too, saying, you know, I still want it. I still think it looks great. I think it's worth it. And to maybe a lot of people there are, but the vocal majority has just been destroying X-Transbots. And it's a heartbreaker because, again, I've been supporting this set, supporting them. I even said the other day they were in my top 3 companies, third-party companies, and that's still the case. But I guess it would be to say, I feel like they're losing because it seems like they're being disingenuous with their fans. So even posts that have nothing to do with the trailer are just bombarded with $75 for the accessory kind of stuff. And folks are saying that they were misrepresenting whether these accessories came with the trailer pack. If it was included with the trailer, then yeah, $230, maybe a bit easier price to swallow, that kind of stuff. Some people are saying it's not fair because you really need these add-ons for the armbots to make it a complete figure. I actually think it looks better without it. But yeah, they're just getting beat up. Like 413 comments on this trailer, and if you go through them, they're just terrible. Don't listen to Greg Sullivan; he's a troll. But I'm still looking forward to a lot of their stuff. It's just been a PR nightmare for them. What else did they have a PR nightmare for? Recently, they had that battery kind of explosion, which I don't think it was deemed to be user error because they tried to charge an unchargeable battery. But in any case, it's been a really bad last month or so for X-Transbots. So they're going to have a tough time of it. A lot of people are like, I'm in for the trailer just because I need it, but then you don't get another dime from me. That's bad news. Some people put up meme posts saying, congratulations, X-Transbots, you just committed company suicide. Like, that's awful. They're a big loser of this year. And the Quintesson pricing, a lot of people have talked about that. They're like, it's a giant egg. How can it cost almost $200? And I agree. So, yeah. Also, a lot of people like TM have bought into their reissues, their recolors, their repaints, and they've been disappointed with either breakages or the poor quality of the paint. It's been expressed to them a number of times through their channels and through their retailers that they need to step up the QC on their stuff because it's disappointing. So for all those reasons, X-Transbots is my number 2 loser of the year. All right, so let's see. Glitchers asked, do you have any love for the European characters like Turbo Masters or Predators? Not really, I'm sorry. I wish I could say yes, but not at all. Well, we'll pick, what is this? Might have to make a call. Okay, I don't know what that is. Locke will be my last X-Transbot figure. Oh, 590 says, I'm a big boy pig. I can take it, brother. And again, this is not in response to anything about the figures. It's about their kind of PR nightmare that they're going through. I don't think anybody's going to argue about that. Clinical says, I was going in on the Protectobots, the Omnibots, considering switching to their Springer, etc. But they can do one now. I don't know what that means. TM says, I'm definitely getting the trailer. I will have a review on my channel. No accessory pack, though. Yeah, so TM, I think, is probably going to be the only one of our trio, our trifecta, that's going to be doing that. Hey, Dare, how's it going? Good to see you in here. Thanks for joining the number 10 live stream. FB like TFW sharks feeding on the internet. That's pretty funny. Steve's on the fence, so not happy with X-Transbots right now. I think, again, a lot of fans are, but a lot of fans are still in support of it. So it's great to see that. My hope is that the quality that they're touting on Facebook, they're saying that, somebody said it better be fans quality level or better. And the X-Transbots official response was, it is. It was like something really short, like it is, or yeah, like bet on it or something like that. It was a kind of a drop the mic thing. So I haven't watched Ben's Collectibles preview of it. I know he did it. I don't want to do that because just in the off chance that I do want to review it, I don't want my opinion skewed of that just yet. Hopefully, whether I most likely won't buy it, I'm going to be perfectly honest. But if Toy Dojo asks me to do a review and sends me a copy, I'll definitely review it. Baker Jen says, X-Transbots definitely needs a lesson in PR, regardless of whether people like their products or not. Messaging is just as important as quality and reputation. Yeah. Hey, Z-Farsh, how's it going? Z-Farsh, you're also in the Toronto area, right, with Steve. I don't know if you guys know each other. All right. MF Doomtree says, DX9 Menasor kills it. Lowell says, I wish there... No, that was not the one I was... Baker Jin said, no ratchets for forward hips or knees. Seems like a bad idea for such a large combiner. That's interesting. I haven't heard of that because, again, I didn't watch the review, so it's interesting that they didn't do that. I'm sure there's probably a design reason. But as long as it holds up, I don't really care if it's a friction or not. Roll says X-Trans combiner holds really well, sturdy ratchets. So I'm guessing he's talking about a different set of ratchets. I'm not really sure. Upgrades are necessary. Yeah, from the photos, I actually think because he is kind of top heavy already that I don't think the covers or whatever pieces are really that necessary. Have you ever been blackballed by a company for a bad review? I mean, they can't really blackball me. They don't send me stuff for free typically, so it's not like I can be blackballed in that sense because they're not giving me stuff. The only companies that actually send me stuff for free on the regular are MMC/Ocular Max because I do their official video manuals, and Iron Factory until recently because I do their video manuals. 598 has been great about sending me some stuff every once in a while as well, but I usually get that from him, not directly from X-Transbots. And then obviously Toy Dojo supplies a lot of stuff for me to review. So haven't been blackballed. I mean, I don't know how they would really blackball me from doing reviews. I would just buy the figure from retail for somebody else. So, all right. So we talked about that enough to beat a dead horse on that. My number 2 winner of the year is, let me reach down to get him. You might not be surprised because he was sitting up here, but I brought him down. This is 01 Studio Cell. Formerly, I guess the design was Zeta Toys. They're Unicron. And this guy is just a beast. He's just an enjoyable figure to have. The transformation was challenging. Luckily, I had T-Man's review to go by. He helped me out with a lot of stuff. And then there were other couple of tips that I added to my video. But this figure is just great for a number of different reasons. One, it just looks super clean. There's like no kibble on this. Obviously, he has duplicate parts on the front and back. But I would take that over kibble any day versus the HasLab one. The HasLab one has kibble all over the place and just doesn't look like it'll be a figure that's easy or fun to pose or enjoyable as a toy in general. And I say that I have 2 on order. So I don't say that as a hater. I have 2 on order. I'm definitely going to review it. But this figure just seems like a much better looking and representative version of Unicron. The only downside being is that it's, smaller than some people might like for the Planet Killer. But he looks great. He has a lot of nice, fun details. You can open up the belly. If you can. You can open the belly and put something in minifigure in there. He has the different heads. He has the light up head up there as well as the eyes. Great ratchets everywhere. The transformation, while I said is challenging in some places, once you get the hang of it, it's a pretty enjoyable transformation. It looks great in both modes. And the features it has in both modes are really great. Just be careful about the part that I broke. Luckily, Toy Dojo was able to get that replaced for me. But otherwise, I think he's a phenomenal figure that has a ton of articulation for such a big figure. The downside is he has also gone up in price. I don't think he's worth the maybe 350 plus that I think some people are selling him for. But if you were able to get in on the early bird price and get it for like sub 300 or even 300, I think it's still a very good deal. Let's see. I think we're still talking about X-Transbots. The extras bulk them up, but Menasor looks fine without it. Yeah, I think so too. I think that's more than good. Maddie Dennis says, Studio Cell, that robot is fab. Alan says, oh yeah. Do you think MMC will reissue Frenzy and Rumble separately? I doubt it. I think if they reissue it, they'll probably reissue it together. 3 Livestream says, someday I will have this Studio Cell Unicron. All right. Glitcher says, I've got Studio Cell 01 on my bedside drawers. He's so heavy that he's warping the surface. Well, he is a planet-sized figure, so he does have his own gravitational field. So the fact that he's warping your desk isn't a bad thing. Maddie also shares the opinion that I just wish Studio Cell was bigger. Yeah, honestly, if a KO company came and oversized it, I'd probably be in for it. My HasLab is going to be in planet mode forever. I think that's the only way that I'll probably be able to display it too, to be perfectly honest. All right. At Pay for Life audience question missed. Do you think it is worth the hassle to install the replacement ratchets on MMC Onslaught? If you're going to use that arm in any position other than down, then yes, it's worth it. Just be careful. I touched on it on my instructions. It is very easy to stress because you can't really remove that piece without popping a pin. So you're probably gonna have to stress it a little bit. Just be mindful of it and make sure that you bring a hairdryer or a heat gun or even a lighter. Just be careful with the lighter to remove those stress marks after the fact. Thanks for bringing that back up, TM. Which SHF Goku is that next to the Matrix and Shenron? That is the Imagination Works. So I did a live stream of that in my 10 days of live streaming just a few days ago, Kathmandu. It's basically an oversized figure arts, but it does boast a lot more detail. And it's an amazing figure. It's, I think, $110, $120, something like that. 110, 20, I think. I could be wrong about that. You would have to check the Toy Dojo site or any other retailer. I do definitely think it's worth the asking price, though. There are some things that are really bad about it, especially the hip articulation and molding, but everybody's kind of beat that to death. T-Man9978, basically every review on YouTube and myself. So there are some downsides to it. Yeah, you can see me on my TV. I was thinking about maybe putting my logo on here during my live streams, just so it's not just a big black square. I'll probably do that if I don't get lazy. All right, so we're going into number one biggest loser of 2020. And again, this is not a figure. I think honestly, the biggest loser of 2020 is us, the community. We got hit hard, fellas. I mean, this is kind of a cop out because it's not a figure. But honestly, I thought this year the figures I had by and large were really great, but we were beat up. And I honestly hope 2021 is going to be better. But, just a couple of things to talk about 2020. Obviously, a lot of us lost friends and family. A lot of us got hit financially hard. Luckily, some of us haven't. I haven't really. But, my wife and her friends, some of you out there probably got hit very hard. I see community members talking about having to sell their collection due to work issues and so forth. Those of us who have been blessed to be able to not have to take that hit and not have to sacrifice have been lucky. But, we've also gotten hit hard in the sense that we don't have any conventions or gatherings or limited conventions and gatherings. We lost both of our TF cons, which is a dagger to me because I usually go to both of them. So that was really hard. The local gatherings that I had with Alan, who's in right here. Alan right here, he's a local. Again, he's probably the first local I met in person when I started getting back into collecting in 2016, 2013 is when I first met him. And the fact that we have gatherings, Northern Virginia, DC area gatherings, we used to have them every other month or so, and we haven't had one for over a year now. It's a dagger. It makes collecting much less enjoyable for us, at least for me as a community. On the plus side, in the last year or two, met up with T-Man978 and TM Reviews, and like I said, we have a Facebook chat that we chat on throughout the day, every day. It's literally not a day goes by, or maybe every couple hours goes by that we're not chatting about something, whether it's collection related or not. So losing that community aspect has really been hard on all of us, I'm sure. So that's hard. We obviously had companies that were affected by this. We had delays. We had price hikes that had to go up due to shipping delays, shipping price hikes. We got companies that just disappeared. We had companies that were like KO companies that we lost, which some of us are probably more heard about than others. Some of us don't support the KOs, which is totally fine. It's your collection, whatever you do. I sometimes do, usually don't. But we lost those. We might have lost DX9. Looks like we lost other companies and projects like Gigapower's Throne might be a canceled project. A lot of things just really, really hit hard. And even the companies that are still around are trying to stay low under the radar. Fans Toys is one of the most notable ones that are trying to keep under the radar. Ocular Max, MMC, so also trying to stay under the radar. So we don't get as many reveals or anything like that. So it's been a tough year for us. So us as a community has been the biggest loser of 2020. And then, again, I know that's kind of a cop-out. It's also kind of a cop-out in general for a reflection on 2020. But I think it's something that we should keep mindful of, and just also try to have a positive outlook of 2021, even though it doesn't look like things are really going to drastically change, at least in the near term, early 2021. So that was my top 5 losers. Going back, it was Zeta Pioneer, then it was Fans Toys Iceman, ToyWorld Freedom Leader, X-Transbots as a company as a loser, and then us, the Transformers collecting community, us as a world has been the biggest loser of 2020. All right, so my final winner of 2020 is again not a company, and to whoever it was earlier that said, I think it was BBO3 that called me a Fans Toys hater, my number 1 winner of 2020 is Fans Toys as a company. And this may surprise people because people think I'm a Fans Toys hater, and I never consider myself a Fans Toys hater. I consider myself hating very specific figures on Fans Toys. But as a whole, if you saw my collection, I think Fans Toys and X-Transbots take up the majority of my third-party collection, and I listed both of those as my top 3 companies of third party. So Fans Toys in general. So the reason why, there's a bunch of reasons why. One is they released a ton of figures this year, both new and reissues. And for a company that's historically been the butt of jokes saying that they release stuff when they show a preview of something or a silhouette or a render, that things are going to come out in 20 years, for a company to come out and release Thomas, Sheridan, Hunk, Magnum, Iceman, Dune Runner / Dune Rider, a Coot reissue, a Phoenix reissue, a Spoiler reissue, a Sovereign reissue, that's just a ton of stuff from one company. I mean, it's a ton of third party in general, but for that to come from Fans Toys, who's typically super slow, that's just a lot. And that's not counting the stuff that they delayed, like their stuff that they're working on that went back to the drawing board. I think that Blitzwing did, their Trailbreaker did. But even the toys that they released, even though Iceman isn't my favorite, he's not a bad figure. I'm going to put that out there. He's not a bad figure. He's still high quality, really nice materials. The sculpt looks great. If you don't care about articulation or the backpack or some potential QC issues, I still think he's a great figure. He's just not for me. But as a company, I still love Fans Toys. I'm not a Fans Toys hater. Well, whoever said that, maybe it wasn't BBO3. Somebody said that. In any case, I'm not a Fans Toys hater. I have a bunch of their stuff. I was brought in late to these guys. I love both of them. Spoiler got reissued, so you don't have him. Definitely get him. He was the figure that I was most surprised about, I guess, maybe. I wasn't expecting much. I gave him a lot of grief for being Gumby-like from the sides, but he is my favorite of the 3 Stunticons so far. Magnum is also fantastic. Thomas, although I do have issues with him, and he's probably not my figure of the year, if I were to pick a figure of the year, he is phenomenal in all 3 modes. Great quality. I had one issue with it with or actually 2, with the weird leg ratchets or knee ratchets not being symmetrical, so you can't have him stand correctly. But Dune Rider, I don't love him, but he's great overall. Just the hole in the chest. I just didn't think he was phenomenal, but for the price, he's also a great value. Sheridan, where's my Sheridan? Oh, he's back. He's in the back. That's why I didn't grab him. Sheridan might be my favorite Fans Toys release in a really long time. I really love Sheridan. It also isn't without its issues. Some of the warping and some of the knee breakages that happen. I mean, there's stuff that you can forgive. They try to address that. But again, I still love that figure. Issues aside, I love the transformation. I think it felt great. I think it was the best looking Warpath that we've ever gotten, bar none. So Hunk, I think, is a pretty solid, good figure. Yeah, so a lot of these Coot, I was a Coot hater. They came out with a reissue, and it wasn't just a straight issue. They made improvements to it that made it much more enjoyable, much easier to transform. And while I struggled with it on the first live stream I had, doing a retro, I think I called it retro review, I felt I had to redeem myself, and I did another video on it the next day for redemption. And it is much easier, much more enjoyable as a figure. So if you have the option of getting Coot, get the reissue. Don't get the original. I will say that. And it changed my opinion of that figure drastically. Now I definitely recommend that figure. I still am looking forward to the lock. I think he might actually still end up being my cup of choice. But yeah, Phoenix, obviously great. It was a figure that was going up in price a lot. So the fact that people can get that at a reduced price. Sovereign, same thing. I didn't get him originally. I had a review copy, a preview copy. I got the reissue with the movie colors. I love it. And I meant to do a retro review of that one. It's just on the list of my lazy stuff that I haven't gotten. So yeah, my number one winner of this year is Fans Toys. So to all you Pig is a Fans Toys hater, I don't know how you can call me that while I put it number one as my winner this year. So with that said, let me go back and take a look at some comments, and then I'll go ahead and wrap up the live stream for today. So let's see. I think people. Oh, so sorry, I missed the some of the stuff. The Biggest Losers. Yeah, we're the biggest losers. No Ratchets, limited articulation. Yeah, yeah, we were definitely a punching bag this year. So Lorenzo says, "Blessed I didn't have to sell anything, but I had to cancel plenty of pre-orders." That's a tough one, Lorenzo. Hopefully, 2021 is a better outlook for you. Big Firebird Bird of Dawn out soon. Looks like a winner. I don't know that one. Roll says 2020 was a crappy year. Hoping we'll get a better one. Alan also says, agree with you. Number one loser on the list. No question. The community suffered a lot. And it's not just our community. The video gaming community suffered tons too. All these different events, these big competitions, Evolution, the biggest competition, video game, fighting game competition in the world, was canceled. And a lot of the community-driven ones were canceled and may not be back. A lot of them got bent over by the venues, not giving them refunds, even though it's COVID and they weren't allowed to have events. So their $50,000 in deposits for venues got non-refunded. So it's tough. All right, let's see what you got. Lowell says, you, TM, T-Man, and Bobby helped make this year go by easier. It definitely wasn't me. Maybe just in the last 10 days it has been. I look back, and in the year in review, I saw that I only did, including this video right now, I only did 43 videos and live streams this year. That's like 3 a month. That's awful. So I apologize for that. I'll try to make it I'll try to be better next year. That's my New Year's resolution. So hopefully I'll be back on track. And I used to do 2 or 3 videos a week. So I'm never gonna be T-Man 978 number of videos a week, but I'm gonna try to get back up to some of the numbers I used to have. Baker Jane also agrees we're the biggest losers. Let's see what else we have. BBO3 says, hey, that wasn't me. I'm sorry if that wasn't you, BBO3. My apologies if it wasn't you. Yeah, it's for number one. Fans Toys had a pretty prolific year. I agree. TM reviews, big Fans Toys fans as Fans Toys. So yeah, let's see. Oh, it was Brian. Thank you, BB. Sorry, the B's got me confused. Sorry to call you out there. Brian G was the one that called me a hater. He also says Fans Toys took up most of my collection for this year with all their releases. Steve is really looking for their acoustic wave. If you guys don't know, that's their sound wave. And it was actually the first, I think, or first full figure that they were planning on releasing or something like that. And they canceled it because MP Soundwave came out at the same time. So a lot of people are interested in that. I'm mostly interested not in the Soundwave, but actually the cassettes. So I'd love to get some better articulated cassettes for my MP collection. Roll says, winner, no-brained, FT Astro Train. I don't think you're alone in that. I think a lot of people will agree with you on that. Lorenzo says, Fans Toys is my favorite, but for me, they the NECA of the third party. I don't know if that's a positive or negative, but I'm going to say that. We'll just from the context, I'm going to say that's a negative. I don't collect NECA, so yeah. Lowell likes the Sheridan, beautiful and fun to transform. Yeah, just be careful. Mike Rogers, hey, how's it going? Happy New Year. Let's see who else we have. Bakerton, Pig, any plans for your STC Prime review? there's a lot of stuff I promised I'll review. So I'm trying to up my numbers, like I said, number of content I put out. So I will try to get to it at some point. Baker Jin, I promise. That is a figure that really deserves a review. I should do it. A lot of people would dip out of collecting or have to settle and see 598. Oh, sorry, did 598? Oh, sorry, missed that. So he's probably already gone. But 598, thanks for stopping by. Loved having you on. And he's such a nice guy. He reached out to me on Christmas and said Happy Christmas or Merry Christmas, depending on where you're from. It was great to see him join the live stream. Very surprising. Hoping we'll have a positive new year for X-Transbots. Let's see what else we got here. Except for Sheridan's knees, Fans Toys were perfect this year. Let's see. Pig says, audience question, any real honorable mentions for this year? Honorable mentions, there are probably a lot. I actually had DX9's Dragoon in my top 5, and I pulled an audible at the last minute and pulled him out of my top 5 winners. Mainly because while he is a great figure, I guess I was expecting him to be great, and there are a couple of things that I would have changed about him. His transformation, especially with the instructions, are awful. They're god-awful. Don't follow those instructions. Watch my review. I also would have liked better paint work on this. I think this is probably the most lackluster paint we got from DX9 so far. It's very clean, but I didn't want clean. It doesn't match with the rest of my movieverse figures. I want more detail, more weathering and stuff like that. Other stuff this year that were honorable mentions. Like I said, basically everything Fans Toys was really great. Astro's Train is really great. No, I think I've basically covered it as far as all the stuff I like. Honorable mentions probably go to my Chigokin 1000 Sunny, which I reviewed earlier this week. I love that figure. I keep calling it a figure, and I guess it's not a figure; it's a vehicle, like display piece. But it has so much playability. It's really excellently done. A lot of quality, a lot of die cast. It's like 5 pounds. Great display piece if you're a One Piece fan, or even if you're not. Just as a collector, I urge you to go watch that video to just see what amount of detail they put into that thing. It's a phenomenal piece and worth every penny to me. Crimson Warrior says, I did not realize Coot had some pieces redone. Yeah, I didn't have my original Coot, but I remember when I was transforming him that things felt different. It felt easier to transform. And then TM in our comments, in our group chat, came back and said he had both. And he compared them. He said, yeah, there's definitely things that change, especially that the wheels that rotate on the back up, giving you more clearance to make the transformation much easier. There are a couple of other minor things I think they change. If you want details, check out TM Reviews review of that. I believe he covered that in greater detail. Gabe Wynn asked, MMC's tapes not articulated enough? No, I love them. I've said that numerous times. They're up here on my shelf. I love them, but scale-wise, they are too big. So that's why I would love to have smaller ones that are more in scale with the figures in my MP collection. Paul also loves them. Roll says, now into 2021, best wishes and Happy New Year to all. Yes, let's also share in his enthusiasm. Happy New Year. Hopefully you guys will have a great one. Baker Jin says, my favorite figure of 2020 is definitely MMC Moore's. Looks great in both modes. Intuitive transformation, more paint than I'm used to from MMC. Only downside is the lack of ankle rocker. Did it not have an ankle rocker? I thought it did, but I'm probably misremembering. I'm probably mixing it up with their Tesserus. Michael Rogers says, honorable mention include MMC Probus and Brawl. Yeah, Probus Brawl, that was a good figure. It didn't make my top winners list, but again, that whole line, that whole series of figures, is a really big win for me, just because the engineering is just phenomenal. It's unbelievably good. Chef's kiss good. You need to get that if you have any appreciation for transformation or engineering. T-Man fell asleep. I don't doubt it. I don't know why most of you guys would actually stick around for this long to listen to me jabber on and on and on and on. As soon as he heard Dragoon, yeah, yeah, T-Man's not interested in that. Pop the Trunk Toys, hey, welcome back. Great to see you on these live streams. Oops, sorry. TM Review says, I have pics of cute changes on my Facebook page. Didn't review it, though. So, yeah, check out his Facebook page. Let's see what else we got here. Hans, how's it going, Hans? I haven't seen you in a while. So Hope says, hope we'll finally get to see FT Berserk in 2021. Been waiting for ages. So I did mention that tomorrow, so this is my 10 days of live streaming that was ending 2020. But I'm going to have another live stream tomorrow, my first of 2021. Maybe I'll do another 10 days of live streaming, but for 2021. But so I will be live tomorrow, probably tomorrow evening again at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that topic will be my most anticipated figures. Most anticipated stuff for the new year. It's not just going to be Transformer stuff. It's going to be other collectibles. It's going to be games as well because like I said before, I have here. Let me take this down. I just got a PS5 that I literally just set up yesterday after not opening it for weeks. It was my kind of Christmas gift for my wife and myself. And I also have an Xbox Series S that I have to open for emulation purposes in my arcade machine. So I'm really looking forward to some games, arcade stuff. I'll probably put up some more arcade-related content. Nothing too long, but I do want to do that. Pake, are you going to get Planet X IDW Grimlock? I probably will because I know the MMC put theirs on hold. And while I didn't really love the design of that IDW version, I would love to have it as part of my IDW shelf. Matty Dennis says his biggest winner is Capone, huge skeleton Menosaur, and Motormaster. I've seen a lot of people use Capone with the X-Transbots limbs with some custom parts, and I think that looks really good as well. So T-Man says, I've been watching the whole time, but I don't feel like texting. T-Man is often very lazy about texting. He often does voice notes or voice messages in our Facebook Messenger chats. And T-Man and TM and I hate listening to them. We're always like, I don't feel like listening to these. And sometimes they're like 30 seconds to a minute long. And we're like, come on, man. He often does voice to text as well. And his messages are oftentimes incoherent to us humans who actually, write and read in English. 1 second while I get a drink, guys. This is a good question. Scrambled City Customs asks, hey, Pig, have you ever suggested a figure to MMC? I've only really suggested one figure to them very hard that they have not taken me up on it, and that was More Than Meets the Eye Drift. Not the one that they came out with, which was mostly part of the Drift series that they have, or Drift background issue that they had. But the actual one that he has for most of IDW's More Than Meets the Eye, I think he has it starting with issue 2. And then he also does a kind of a sort of change halfway through, I think in like issue 50 or something like that. When he returns with Ratchet, he has a slightly updated one. I thought they should have done that version of Drift. They love remolds and recolors. That could have been reused like multiple times if you use that design for the original More Than Meets the Eye design. Then the return version with Ratchet, with the Deadlock version, they could have done a number of different recolors, and I think that design looks way better than the other one. Let's see here. TM Review says, I have Instagram page, but I haven't posted anything there. So I think he said he bragged about having followers already without having any content on his Instagram. T-Man says, I clicked the like button. Everybody else should too. Thanks. I appreciate that. BBO3 says, did as soon as I got here. Awesome. Appreciate it. Mike says, smash that like button. I appreciate that, everyone. If you're not subscribed and using that notification bell, apparently notifications have been kind of wonky. I haven't been getting notifications for TM's or T-Man's videos. TM says the same. He hasn't been getting notifications for my live stream, so I don't know what's going on with that. 3 Livestream says, my crew will be streaming tomorrow as well. Bring in the new year with a bang. So, yeah, share that in the comment section. 86 Grimlock worth it? Zvass, I don't know. He looks great. He's one of the figures from, the Studio Series that I probably will buy. One of the few mainline stuff that I will buy. I'll probably try to collect most of the 86 stuff. I think a lot of it looks really great. Katsuke says, will you review X-Transbots Menasor? I've already talked about it before. They were my number 2 loser of 2020. I've already said before, I'm probably not going to buy it at $230, more than the price itself. It just rubbed me the wrong way. Unless somebody sends me one like Toy Dojo for review, I most likely will not review it. I'm sorry to say. TM Review said he will get it though. So check out his channel if you don't already. Mike Rogers says mainline Transformers are getting better and better. Oh my gosh, I'm so far behind. Okay. Let's see here. T-Man says, this is in response to the fact that he sends us voice messages a lot. They should feel privileged to hear my voice. 99% of the voice messages he sends us are in some character or one of some sort, like Starscream or Beast Wars Megatron, you name it. Waspinator. His Waspinator is actually really legit. You should hear his Waspinator. But yeah, most of them are just him doing voice acting for us. So they are good. I'm not gonna lie. Paul Spurgeon wants to see more than meets the eye Ultra Magnus. Let's see what else we have here. Bigger Jen says Stray is designed from the Spotlight. That's the name I was thinking of. I knew it wasn't background. It had some name. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, he actually had that design in just the first issue of More Than Meets the Eye as well. Lee, I don't even know how to pronounce that. Canra Post said MPRC surprised me better than I expected. Same here. That's why she's number 5 on my list. Turban was Wrecker's Whirl. Boreas, who the F knows? Boreas? Who was Boreas again? Oh, yeah. It was supposed to be Cyclonus. That was a terrible, terrible decision. To be honest, I picked up the odd Siege figure. Yeah, I picked every once in a while. All right, let's see. I think we're finally getting down here. Mike says he's collecting the 86 Studio Series from Amazon, already pre-ordered. Ian Crawley says, will you review Moon Studios Raiden? Somebody asked me a similar question, what I thought about Moon Studios. I think it looks great, but I have no attachment to the character. I never watched that series, so unfortunately, I probably will not collect it. Again, if Toy Dojo sends me them to review or something like that, I'll definitely do it. But I don't want to spend my money on something that I have no attachment for, unfortunately. So hopefully one of the other other reviewers in your subscription box will hopefully review that. I'm guessing Ben's collectible. He gets like everything, so I'm guessing he'll review it. Mike says, yeah, I might not go into all the Kingdom figures. The Kingdom line looks great, though. Even if you're not Beast Wars fans, I think most people will be able to appreciate the Kingdom line. So with that, I'm caught up on comments and just over an hour. I hope this was enjoyable for you guys. I don't know why people are always interested in my strong opinions. Usually people hate on my opinions. But hopefully my top 5 winners and losers of the year were at least interesting to you, conversation starters. Would love to hear from you either in the chat, no, this way, the chat down here, or the comment section if you're catching this later. What were your top 5 winners and losers of the year? Was it particular figures, or was it like me, like Fans Toys is my #1 winner of the year, the community being the #1 loser of the year? So I would like to hear from you guys. If you guys have any interest in coming onto this live stream with me on my channel in the new year, like I said, reach out to me on social media. Let me know that you're interested, but also send me a topic that you want to talk about. Just saying, hey, yeah, I'd like to be on is great, but I really want to collect a series of topics. That way I can, once I have a couple of interesting topics, I can pull for a couple of other people. I'd like to have maybe 4 or so people on at a time to talk about a number of different topics, whether they're Transformers, collectibles, even if it's just other hobbies that are not related to collectibles. If it's about video games, it's about cars. TM is really into cars. I'd like to have him come on and talk about cars at some point. I'm not a big car guy, but I can talk. I can listen to pretty much anything. So hopefully you guys will take me up on that. Baker Jin in the chat has talked about that as well. Pack, aka 3 Livestream, has expressed interest. There are a couple of other people. I already have a list that I've already built with people that have already reached out to me. Once I start having a list, I'll probably do it as a recurring segment. If it's not, every couple weeks, maybe once a month, with a community outreach. So, yeah, that's it. Well, sorry, I wanted to address this one. Lowell says MP Hound was a loser for me. Such promise, such bad results. He was part of my 2019, because I actually got him at the end of last year, and I think I put him as a winner. I really liked him. There are definitely issues with him, but yeah, I still really liked him. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed these 10 days of live streaming with me, Peg for Life. Check out Toy Dojo, my sponsor. They're sponsoring me again next year. Hopefully I'll have more and more content for you guys. It's been a tough 10 days of live streaming, but I enjoyed every minute of it once I actually get it ready and once I go live. These live streams have really motivated me to keep going, keep producing content for you guys, and really just keep doing live streams and conversing with you guys. It's been an amazing year for me as far as live streaming goes. So hopefully I'll keep it up in the new year. Keep me motivated. Hit that like, subscribe, reach out to me, chat with me on Facebook or other social media to keep me motivated and put on that pressure, right? Make sure that I do that review of that figure I said I would. So that's it for today, everyone. Hope you have a good one. Bring in the new year and hope it's a better one than this one. Thanks, TM. Thanks, T-Man.